2, 1. Hey, everybody, this is Linda Chatmon, and I am the founder of Contracts and Capital Sports and Entertainment, specifically 8 to 14 campaign. And today we have our very first student athlete forum, and we've got a great panel for you today. But our topic today is talking about the impact that the coronavirus has had on the dreams of so many people who are looking to be drafted tomorrow, or just the draft in general. I think many of you know that since the age of like 3, 4, 5 years old, you know, young guys and girls and everybody who's involved in any draft activity, they just had an idea of exactly what they were going to do when their name was called. And whether it was walking across the stage, whether or not it was surrounded by family and friends, whether it was because you had cameras in the house, everybody had an idea of exactly what that moment would look like. And they're going to be robbed of that opportunity. So I've pulled together a great panel of people who are involved, who have been involved with that process. Also people who represent customers and clients and student athletes who are currently in that process. And so I've decided to pull all my friends together and let's just have a dialogue and talk about how that's impacted so many people. But before I do that, I want to introduce my co-host, Quentin Walker of Beyond the Game. Quentin, say hey. And if you could just kind of tee everybody up about what's getting ready to happen tomorrow, over the next weekend. Just kind of talk to us about what's getting ready to happen.
Okay, so like, you know, Linda alluded to, tomorrow is a big day for a lot of college kids in general, college football players, because it's the NFL draft being held tomorrow. And due to COVID-19, of course, you know, they can't actually go and be invited to the draft. So they're doing the draft virtually. They already did a test run, I think, the other day just to see how it would go and everything like that. But tomorrow is supposed to be a monumental day for a lot of college football players. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, you know, they won't be able to get the experience of walking on stage, shaking Commissioner Goodell's hand, you know, feeling that proud moment of walking across the stage, knowing they just got drafted by that dream team or that dream moment. But tomorrow's the NFL draft, and, you know, I want to discuss everything that goes through an athlete's mind now with COVID-19 and how it affects them differently with the draft tomorrow.
Thank you, Quentin. Thank you very much. So now, as it relates to the draft tomorrow, and I know that we've got some people who represent football players, the football draft, as well as the NBA draft, as well as we have a gentleman here that, like, hey, what happens if you don't get drafted? Hey, it's not the end of the world. So we're going to talk about that. But as it relates to the mechanics of the draft, so this is for parents mostly, because most student athletes kind of understand it, but you got some folks in rural America who may be sophomores or juniors, and maybe mom or daddy, and maybe even them, depending upon where they are, they might not really understand. It's like, okay, so how did I get here? Did I get a letter? Did I get a letter? How does a person get to the draft? I mean, does somebody write them a letter? Do they just show up? Do they get an application? Tell me how a person gets to the draft, Quentin.
Well, the draft process, it varies in a lot of different ways. First of all, you have to be 3 years removed from high school. That's the first step right there, regardless of however it goes down. After that, depending on what teams is looking at you, you'll have what's called a pro day. And that's where the college that you attend, what you do is you'll put on a display of your skills where you'll go through an array of drills and everything. And that varies depending on which teams are looking to draft you. But before that even happens, they have what's called a NFL Combine, where they invite all the college student athletes to come to the Combine, showcase their skills in front of all 32 general managers and owners and so forth and so on. And then once that happens, I mean, there's really no process as far as you getting a letter or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just pretty much, you know, the juniors and the seniors going to the Combine and then showcasing their skills that way.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and introduce our panel. And as I introduce each one of the panel members, I'm going to ask you for your perspective on that particular process. So first is one of my 8 to 14 members and one of my what I call my sidekicks, is Mr. Mo Leggett. Maurice, thank you so much for joining us. Maurice is, I call him Mr. Steal Your Pass, because Maurice, believe it or not, is the only athlete ever to have a pick six in every single every single league in the NFL, CFL, and AFL. Did I get it right, Mo?
The only player with a pick six.
All right, great. So Mo, why don't you talk to us about what it was like for you on the day, and whether you got drafted or not. Just kind of say, you know what, I was teed up. I had my family there. I had a camera there. Talk to me about what you experienced on NFL draft day.
Well, mine was an emotional roller coaster just from the entire path there. I wasn't drafted. I felt like I should have been drafted. But my entire time, I was just battling, the fact that people were always saying that I wasn't good enough and I wasn't big enough, I wasn't fast enough. And me bouncing from home to home from friends and pretending like I had a place to stay. I was bouncing from home to home from my junior year of high school,
okay,
where I had to move off campus because I couldn't stay on campus during holidays. So all of that prepared me for everything I went through for the actual draft. So,
so basically, when you didn't get drafted, it was like, oh hell, you know what?
I broke my phone. I saw guys that I worked out with, and when Chip Smith trained me, and I'm training with these guys. I've trained with Brandon Marshall, Jay Cutler, and these guys, and we're not just working out and lifting weights, and I'm actually excelling and looking like a top player, and then I didn't get drafted. I broke my phone that same night.
All right, I can imagine. So we're going to get your perspective on the I didn't get drafted. So what? So your night for the NBA draft, it was disappointing for you, to say the least.
It was disappointing, and I was very optimistic.
Okay.
I was one of those guys. If you didn't force me to do anything, I'm one of the older guys. So if you got drafted, you had to go to the rookie symposium.
Okay.
I had some friends that were already there. They said the symposium was like 10 hours a day. If you even nodded off, you got fined, you got kicked. I was like, nah, I'm good.
All right. So NBA draft day to you at the very least was disappointing. So we're going to stay on topic as it relates to the NBA draft. So, all right. So Kevin, all right, we know that the NBA draft is in June, I believe, isn't it? All right, so it's in June. So all right, so most of your basketball players are also, they got football friends, or they friends with somebody at the football. So talk to me about your experience as it relates to the NBA draft. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kind of let everybody talk about their respective situations and what they're doing right now. But talk to me, Kevin, a little bit about your experience and the experience of your clients for what's going to be happening this weekend.
Yeah, well, with the NFL draft, obviously you have a lot of guys that, the evaluation period was a little different for them, just like the NBA guys that are college players that are coming out and going to the NBA. They lost the opportunity to have the NCAA tournament to showcase themselves, number one. Number two, with now the openness for representation, a lot of things kind of got slowed down. Guys missed the pre-draft process, where guys typically come to me for an 8-week period where we really work on the fundamentals, work on things that gets them ready for the pre-draft. In the process of that, some college players typically go to Portsmouth in Virginia, and they're evaluated there. Then you have a host of players that are evaluated at the combine a couple of weeks before the draft. So with that process not being there, it doesn't give teams the opportunity to really evaluate and talk to players directly.
So when the NBA draft happens in June, even though we're in April, there would have been a place or somewhere to go so that when June came, they can make more informed decisions.
Yes.
And
that,
so now people have not had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's what's up in the air right now. We're kind of doing things day to day. Right now, everyone's just trying to figure out how to finish up the season. But at the same time, everyone's trying to figure out how to get all these players in and evaluate them so they can make the proper choice. You know, being a coach in the NBA G League and being in that league for 5 years, it's kind of, their setup is going to kind of be like how ours was for a long time. We weren't able to evaluate players in the G League draft. We had to kind of take what we can get and really take, you know, the body of work what they did in college and kind of just evaluate them from there.
Okay.
But hopefully sometime, you know, between August and September where the guys can be evaluated, because it looks like the way things are going, that's where we're heading. We're going to have a late draft where they're going to have an opportunity to have a shorter period of time to evaluate, or if we lose that time and they go ahead with the draft, we're going to basically go and do it just like we normally do it in the G League.
Okay. All right. So while we're on that subject, go ahead and tell us your what you do and how you're able to have this perspective from the draft. You run a gym, you are a coach, and so therefore your current clients are people who are looking to be drafted. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I have some college players, but you know, my background is, you know, very diverse. You know, I was a high school All-American. I went to University of Tennessee, played my 4 years there. I went overseas, and obviously I played at least 8 to 10 years over there, which that gave me a great perspective because I was undrafted. So I had to fight.
Okay, you undrafted is all. Okay. So it looks like we got a great topic of okay, go ahead.
I was one of the guys that's coming up now that didn't have that access right away. I had to fight to get in the league. I needed the summer league. I needed all those things to prove myself. And obviously those things kind of helped me with players coming up now because I understand the grind that it takes. And my path to that, I've had opportunity to coach at every level. I started coaching, you know, 7th grade girls in a private school as a playing career, and that kind of gave me the you know, that bug in my eye, like, man, I can really do this. And I kind of just expanded my coaching career from that standpoint. I started doing player development, and then I found myself coaching in the ABA to the PBL. Then
so right now you're getting a lot of kids who, what should I do? Oh man, they're disappointed. They're probably getting a little depressed. So you're feeling that perspective. Okay, all right. Well, we're gonna go on over to Miss Ellakisha, who I've met very recently. She is a powerhouse attorney and NFL agent. So talk to me, Ellakisha, about your perspective. I know right now your clients are guys who are looking to be drafted tomorrow or this weekend. And so they're probably a little anxious, they're a little nervous, they're a little sad. Talk to me about what you're having to field in your practice today.
Absolutely. Right now is definitely not a time for the soft-hearted or weak-minded. So, because our athletes had experienced a conglomerate of things right now, because not just the normal, like Mo mentioned earlier, the emotions and all that stuff with the whole process, the COVID-19 added an extra layer of all this different stuff. And so most of my athletes, all but one, I have 6 of them, all but one had their pro day at their college or local pro day from invitations from professional teams postpone or cancel. So that right there was just nerve-wracking. And it was like, yeah. So right now it was about being very creative. And for me, especially my inaugural year as an NFL agent, I had to knock off a whole lot of things with learning process. I just had to go beast mode. And for me, being a former professional athlete myself, so collegiately and professionally, it's a sport. That's how I looked at it. Like in any sport, I ran track and field, you have to expect the unexpected, adapt and win. And so that's all that I've been pressing on my athletes. So we got to adapt and win. And so we started to do pro day simulations. We had NFL scout from the Buccaneers who was present, you know, just try to have somebody there to give some type of credibility. And then I just started emailing all 32 NFL teams, from GMs to director of scouts, showing them the video we put together, the numbers they put up. You just have to get creative and keep pushing and you know, throw it all against the wall. And so that helped relieve some anxiety, but it's still there.
So you're talking about just basically being prepared.
You
All
gotta
right,
be prepared.
we've got Dontell. Dontell, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. I will do it for you.
Gotcha.
So, all right. So Dontell is another NBA guy, another resource of ours, who is the author of a book. He didn't get drafted. He's from rural Georgia. However, he went and he made sure that he created a book, bestseller, of how to make it to the NBA. So I know that, like I said, even though the NFL draft is tomorrow, you also might have some perspective on, you know, the night before the draft, the night before, like you thinking, well, maybe I might not go first round, but maybe I'll go second round. Tell me what your thought process was that night before, and more importantly, how can you imagine what guys are feeling like now? Because I know that just based on some of your social media, people reach out to you, especially people from rural America who are looking for you to tell them how to get drafted, whether it's in the NBA or just how to position yourself to be seen.
Right.
What are you hearing out there?
Interesting enough for me, I wasn't invited to Portsmouth. I wasn't nowhere near the draft boards. I left my senior year averaging 3 points and 5 assists at the University of Arkansas. But what I did get the experience was my best friend, Rainer Brewer. He was a lottery pick. So I kind of got a sense of both sides, seeing him go through his process. And then just for me personally, like I really didn't even know if I was going to play basketball or not. I was just kind of going through the moment, seeing, you know, what's going to happen to him.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where it's, you know, talking to him over the years, it's a lot of anxiety that night.
Right.
And
Do you
then
think
just
it's
everything just
compounded
being,
by coronavirus? Do you think the fact that people only have their immediate family in a house where they've envisioned having the friends, the neighbors, the girlfriend, the coaches, the football team, they're planning on being surrounded by,
right,
you know, people that got the cameras. Now it's like you get a phone call and probably 90% of the excitement about getting that call is who you share it with. And
right.
so now you don't get to share that with anyone. How impactful is that?
I think it gives you another sense of just appreciating the moment.
Yeah.
You know, some of those guys that, you know, some guys that, you know, they opt out of not going to the draft room and things like that, and they want to have that just intimate time with, you know, their family and friends and not be there.
Understood.
So I think it's a kind of a more humbling experience for, you know, to kind of go through that now and just
Right.
have your immediate family there. And
Okay,
you
so
know,
it might be, okay, maybe by design. Okay. All
yeah.
right, now we're going to move on to one of my other 8 to 14 members, Mr. Marquez Williams. Marquez, I'm going to mute you, darling. I think one of the things that I can say about Marquez is that he has been directly, I mean directly impacted by coronavirus, because you were on a team, the XFL, right, Marquez? Okay, unmute yourself. Yeah, there you go. You were on an XFL team. You were on a team that was undefeated. You guys were the top team in the league. The league was getting mad respect, mad support. I'm seeing Marquez all over the place. He's asked his girlfriend to be his wife. I mean, he's getting all this wonderful exposure. And then coronavirus. Talk me through not only how coronavirus has directly impacted your livelihood as a professional player, but how you can imagine what guys are going to feel like tonight, well, tomorrow night and the rest of the weekend when they do or don't get that call, but don't have some family surrounding them or TV cameras. Speak to how coronavirus has directly impacted you and your livelihood.
Well, absolutely. The XFL was another opportunity for players to be able to go out and showcase what they can do to possibly get back to the NFL. So it was another opportunity. Nobody could have seen the coronavirus coming to interrupt the season. And unfortunately, a lot of guys weren't able to, really put on a full season, as we call our athletic resume, with your highlight tape and your film to showcase the other teams. But with that being said, some guys were fortunate enough to be able to still get a chance to go on to that next level. As far as some of the guys being able to, get drafted this weekend, I think personally, there's some bad to it, of course. Some guys aren't able to go out there and do the pro days and be able to increase their draft stocks to, increase their chances of getting drafted, if they're not likely to. But also, as Dontell said, just give you a chance to appreciate the moment. Whether you're in the house, with just your mom and a few relatives or whatever it may be, you have a chance to really just indulge in that moment.
In that moment. Now, you played for University of Miami, and did you get drafted or no?
I did. I got
did?
in the 7th round.
Okay, by which team?
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, and then you went on to play for the Cleveland Browns, right? I believe.
Play with the Browns.
Yep. Okay. So the night that you got drafted, the day. Okay, talk to me about that day where you went the 7th round. So were you like, oh my God, it's not going to happen? Oh my God, it is going to happen? Did you have family there? Did you have cameras there? What was your day like on that day?
I did have some family and friends come to the house. I wasn't expected to be drafted. I spoke with a few coaches and GMs, prior to me getting drafted. But I literally had no one interested in me. I actually had the Redskins call and tell me that they wanted to sign me as a free agent. And it's kind of bad. I kind of blew them off at the time because I was upset. And then when Jacksonville called, Action was playing a joke with me on the phone. They said, "Hey, Marquez, we would like to sign you as a free agent." And I almost hung up the phone. And it was like, well, no, they told me that they wasn't interested in signing me as a free agent no more because they wanted to take me with their next pick. So,
wow. That was great. That's great.
Changed after that.
Great. All right, so now we're going to our last person before we start talking to you guys about what you're doing now and how you can help student athletes transition between tonight and maybe their day next year or later on in the year. We've got Chad Gaffney, who is an agent with Prozone Sports, and he, like Ellakisha, is an agent. So he's having to, he has to be the emotional support system. He has to be the professional support system. He's got to be there for his clients because they're the people who are actually that are, tomorrow night, they're the ones waiting by the phone. Chad, talk to me about the headspace that your clients are in right now.
My clients are right now, they're very emotional because, a lot of my guys are going to be free agents. Mm-hmm. Out of the 7, we got 2 that may get drafted. So, and I think Marquez was saying something about this earlier, about them getting a chance to showcase themselves at their pro day. They don't get that this year. So it's going to be a lot tougher. And when I saw Ellakisha saying that they did a pro day, and had to email all the scouts, we did the same thing, and it's a whole lot harder when the scouts can't be there and physically put their eyes on the client. So we're just going through it right now, but I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
Been getting some pretty good hits on these guys, and
So I guess from my perspective, if I'm a parent, I'm like, okay, agents, y'all, it's time for y'all to get to work, whereas it might have been a little easier because everything was player driven. Now it's like, okay, you have to be a pretty good pro agent now. You have to be a pretty good agent because now you're literally having to sell your clients. So I think that if there is a big shift, the shift has become now there's a bigger responsibility and a definitely larger level of effort and investment. value agents what, because people used to be like, oh, they get 5% or 10% or whatever percentage. Now it's like, but wait, I've got to do all this extra stuff. So I know as a parent, I'm sorry?
If our client don't get drafted, we get minimum wage. We get less than minimum wage.
That's what exactly. So now you have to do that. So, all right, guys. So one, thank you so much. And before I let everybody go through and kind of talk about what they're doing now and how we can support it, Quentin, any sports related stuff that you want to ask anybody, or maybe the perspective of people that have joined your show that may have questions that you can ask on their behalf about, what to do, what's coming up?
Yeah, I have a few questions.
Okay.
This question is more so geared to Ellakisha and Chad, the agents. How are you guys able to keep the morale up of your clients during this time? Because like you said, they can't really do pro days because the GMs and the scouts aren't able to physically go see your clients. So how are you able to keep their morale up during this time until the draft process?
For me, the one thing that I keep my athletes focused on is that this cloud is not just over them. This cloud is over every single person that's either student athlete going into the NFL, or some people like the gentleman, I think it was Marquez brought it before, somebody else who played for the XFL. Their situation got cut and they wanted to use XFL to get into the NFL. Everybody's all trying to figure it out. The thing is, who wants it the most, focus the most, and just give it all you can give. You got to control what you can control. And so we just been focusing on what we can control. And that took so much energy that we didn't have time to have morale down. We had to just give 100% during this time.
What about you, Chad?
I just piggyback off what she said. I think it's more so the parents are more afraid right now than the players are.
Yeah.
The players that can play, they already know. I mean, they've been getting calls all week, last couple of weeks, by teams that are interested in them. So, I mean, they're pretty excited, but it's more trying to keep the parents out of their ears saying, oh, you didn't get calls this week, or, oh, you need to make sure your agent is working, or oh, make sure that, those guys are really, really interested in you. Because at the end of the day, the teams are going to pick who they like. Whether you had a pro day or not, the film don't lie.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mo, I want to direct this question towards you. You said you had a pick in every single league. When you went undrafted, was there ever a moment where you was like, man, forget this stuff? Or did not getting drafted motivate you even more to prove everybody wrong?
Mine, like, I didn't get drafted. It just motivated me, because the fact that I didn't get drafted, it just angered me and fueled me. And I said, it's like, what more can I do to prove them wrong? And I got picked up the same day. So as soon as the draft ended, I got calls from several different teams. I declined money over opportunity. And when I just saw the lineup of the secondary, I knew I had a chance with Herm Edwards in Kansas City. I just said, I'm just going to give everything I have. If not, then I just got to keep working harder. But I just said, the world doesn't care. So you can't feel sorry for yourself.
Fantastic. Good answer. All right, Quentin.
Dontell, I think it was his name. Dontell, you played at Arkansas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So when you played at Arkansas with Ronnie Brewer and you saw the process he was going through, did it make you want to go extra harder to be like, you know what, I went against this guy every day in practice, I can do what he can do? Or did it make you just be like, you know what, maybe overseas is the better route for me?
Nah, man. I actually was so happy for him, man. Like he was my roommate. I mean, he made me look good. I was a point guard, so I mean, a lot of my assists came from him. I didn't really know what I was gonna do for his basketball, and I ended up getting an agent late, and my agent was the kind of one that kind of put it in my ear that I was an NBA player. Prior to that, like my thought was to go overseas and try to make some money. He convinced me to join the D League at the time, and 3 years later, I made it to the NBA.
Fantastic. Anything else, Q?
Mr. Kevin, you said you played overseas, right?
Yes, and in the league.
Talk to me about that process. Why do you think a lot of kids aren't getting the proper information to make that leap to go overseas, because you see a lot of kids who don't get drafted and then they stick around and just become hood legends. And that's because they don't have nobody to let them know, hey, there's opportunities overseas. Why do you think there's not a lot of opportunity for them to go overseas, or for them to know about going overseas?
Well, just, some of that goes on, but probably 80% of the situations that overseas, it's much harder now to go across the water than it used to be, because the international game really took such a jump in the last 7 to 10 years. Their players are really so much better now. So as an American, we have to come over, really at a high level now, particularly at the A team. So you have an A and a B and a C scale. The C jobs are, a lot easier to get. Most of our top tier players now today, because of the NBA G League, they have the opportunity now to either play in the summer league or go directly into the G League draft, which gives them a chance to play immediately in our country. So, it varies at times. I think a lot of guys, from a knowledge standpoint, they know about the situation. I think sometimes it's just so hard now to get over there because of such an influx of guys that are trying to go, plus what they have there. So it's just a different process. When I came out of school in the mid-90s, it was so much different. We had top guys going to Europe, at that time. I mean, if you weren't drafted where you wanted to get and you didn't get the deal you wanted, we just went overseas, where now the numbers are so high now in the NBA, even on a rookie scale, that kind of eliminates that. So it's just a different ball game today. But definitely guys are knowledgeable about it. They just need the proper representation to get them in the right place, to get to the right, so they can get, place. That's what it's all about right now. So that's the only difference.
Okay, great. All right, Quentin, we over with the sports part of it now?
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
All right, now I want to talk about my piece, which is what I'm really, really good at. And that's about entrepreneurship and small businesses and how we can support athletes and what they're doing off the field. And that's what everybody knows, that's what 8 to 14 is about. So I'm going to use this opportunity to showcase my panel and just kind of talk about some things that we're going to be doing, through this platform. We're going to have a store, 8 to 14 store. So everybody that's represented here will have their own store on our site. So if you want to do business with Kevin, or if you want to do business with Quentin or Dontell, you can come to 8 to 14, click on a link, and it'll send you straight to their website. And we're going to be doing that for a lot of players. So we want to make it so that we are the go-to organization for people who are looking to support athletes off the field and off the court. So having said that, Kevin, talk to me about what you're doing and how people can get plugged into what you're doing, to include the new show that you and your family have. The what is it? The
What's up,
Witteds? What's up with the Witteds? Yes, yeah. Great. I tried to tune in one day, and I guess for some reason, I don't know, I was having technical difficulty again. But talk to us about how we can support Kevin with it.
Well, I mean, with myself, I have my basketball services where, I'm working with players from age 8 to the professional ranks. That's been going for over 20 some years. So I'm doing that constantly all the time. Obviously, we're doing virtual training right now because of what's going on. I have the now show that we're doing now, Development 360, where we bring in former players, coaches, et cetera, to talk about the game, kind of where they've been, where they're going, and everything, what's happening today. So that's been fun as well to get started with. And What's Up with the Witteds is a great show because it really highlights everyone in our family that are doing certain things. I have a daughter playing professional basketball. She's in her 3rd year. I have a nephew that played for me in the G League for 2 years, and now he's an assistant coach in the G League for the Maine Red Claws. And my wife, she's an event coordinator, which, she does events, but now she's doing brand activation. So she's a jack of all trades when it comes to that. So with all that, and I also have a younger daughter, as well. She's in middle school. She's coming along.
I've seen her. She can ball. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. You got the main Red Claw with the main what now? Your nephew?
Red Claw.
Oh, okay. Well, what is it? Oh my God. Man, y'all know, I can't think of who am I talking about? My guy that does our that went from Auburn.
He went to
It starts with a B.
Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, Bryce. He's one of our members. Yeah, Bryce Brown. He's number 2.
Yeah, he plays for my.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he invited me to. I was at Final Four last year. Compliments of he and his family. So I'll make sure that that connection is made. So how did I get in contact with you, Kevin?
Well, there are 3 ways to get in contact with me. You have our website, which is kevinwithitbasketball.com. You have my Facebook page, Kevin With It Basketball. We have Instagram, which is KWBS Basketball. So those are the 3 ways. And my phone number directly is 888-780-2216. So those are ways to get in contact with me. You can always email me, kevinwithitbasketball.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kevin.
At kevinwithitbasketball at Gmail,
At gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Kevin. Say hello to the family. We appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us today. All right, Ellakisha, you're up next. How can they get in contact with you? What are you doing right now?
All right. First, to get in contact with me, you can go to my website, allaboutella.com. And if you go to my website, my social media is there, my phone number's there. It's literally all about Ella. So anything I have going on, it's all on that website. Make it very easy. What I have going on right now is I am finishing up my book. And just like you said, one of the most important things for athletes to understand that they're a business. So they have to focus on off the field, off the track, off the court. And so my book is called Code v. Code. It's the street code versus the code of law, meaning how we're mentally conditioned on how we handle contracts, intellectual property, and right of publicity versus how the courts say we should handle it. So I'm empowering athletes, entertainers, entrepreneurs on that area of how we need to do it. So people like myself, you won't need me, you want me, so we can work together because you
all right
yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ella. Hope we can support you. All right, Dontell. All right, talk to us about that book and anything else you got going on.
All right, yes. To get my book, you can go on Amazon. You just search my name, DontellJefferson.com. I just released the ebook of it, and it is on gumroad.com, GUMROAD.com. I also, I speak to student athletes and school districts, to the student bodies as well. My website for that is DontellJefferson.com. My Instagram is also DontellJefferson.com. I'm on Facebook. It's also Dontell Jefferson. What else?
And what's the name of your book again?
How to Make It to the NBA. And it's a story, just a story about a small town kid that ended up growing up in Atlanta and having 2 offers out of high school and eventually, making it to his NBA.
Right.
You find tips of leveraging social media and, to your advantage, dealing with recruiting and things like that.
All right, we appreciate you, Dontell. We're here for you. All right, Marquez, I am super excited about Marquez because me and Marquez started this entrepreneur journey way back in June of last year, and we went this way, went that way, and so he has finally got his calling on the Pop Socks. Talk to us about the Pop Socks, Marquez.
Yeah, so I started Pop Socks. This is one of our socks, is the Batman sock. Pop Socks was started by me not even 2 weeks ago. So I was always interested in socks. The thing behind Pop Socks is for you to wear socks to be able to show your personality. And our slogan is, when you don't know what to wear, put on a pair. So all socks are different from the average person's sock or any other person's sock. We don't like boring, black and white socks. We like crazy, wacky, cool, off the wall socks. So when you buy Pop Socks, you ain't got to think about what you want to put on. Just put on a pair of Pop Socks and go.
There you go, Marquez. Well, because I appreciate each and every one of you so much, I have purchased some Marquez Williams Pop Socks. I can't wait to get mine, and I am going to send each and every one of you a pair. So I would appreciate it if you put them on, and shout out Marquez so he can see exactly how we are supporting entrepreneurs and our members here at 8 to 14. Thank you so much. Y'all gonna get those, so make sure if I don't don't have your address, send it to me, and I'll make sure that you get your pair of your socks. And Quentin, you know I'm gonna need you to wear that on your show.
No doubt.
What is it? Welcome to Kentucky, or what is it called? Your show?
Midday Kentucky. No,
Midday.
as soon as you start saying that, I was starting to think about I'm gonna wear extra pair of short pants just so I can show off the socks.
There you go. There you go. That's right. That's right. All right. So while we're there, go ahead, Quentin, get your plug in. Now, this ain't the Quentin Walker show, but you can get your plug in. Go ahead.
Oh man, you know, I'll just make it short and sweet. I do 2 radio shows here in Lexington, Kentucky, sports show, and then also a reality-based type of show. But the sports show is called Beyond the Game. You can find us on Facebook at KY Beyond the Game. Like she also alluded to, I do a TV show here in Lexington, Kentucky as well, called Midday Kentucky, where I co-host that as well, where we talk about an array of topics and things like that. So I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. I ain't got no book coming out and none of that. You know what I'm saying? I just do radio and TV. That's it.
That's enough, and he's my technical guy. I mean, I know sports. I was a cheerleader, but you know, when I need somebody to come in and ask all the sports questions, you know, I'm on the entrepreneur side. I'm gonna keep y'all plugged in. I'm gonna make sure your businesses get exposure. But when it comes to sports, he's my go-to person. I really appreciate you, Quentin. Thank you so much. All right, Chad, you're up. What's going on with you? What's going on with you, Chad?
Nothing really.
Come on, Chad. Come on now. I've been knowing you too long. You got a lot going on. Go ahead. Talk to what's going on at Prozone.
Nothing. We just got a couple clients, some interviews. I got a few guys at NFL Network. They're gonna be doing some interviews with our guys. I want to try to start this pipeline with Gwinnett County, because I'm in Gwinnett County. I've been out here doing a lot of stuff for a long time. And what I really want to get going is we really need to start the infrastructure of professional athletes and them having knowledge when they get into the pros and things of what may happen. It's not all sunshine. It's not all money. It's not all cars. You're not going to get the girls all the time, and it's easy to get in trouble. So I want to try to start something to show the youth out here. Because, I mean, everybody think Gwinnett County is this big, nice, you know, place to live at. I mean, it is, but at the same time.
I mean, considering the backdrop that you got back there, I kind of say that. It ain't like you in the hood, brother.
But, I mean, it's hoods out here. So
yeah.
I'm going to try to start something. And, I mean, we all got platforms in some shape, form, or fashion. So, you know, at another date, you know, maybe at a better time and a better place, we can get together and try to do that, you know, not just, you know, here in Gwinnett, but, you know, wherever you guys are from.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's what we're here for. That's what we do, is making those connections. I'm going to put a plug in. Chad also owns a construction and development company called Empire. He builds houses. He fixes houses. He renovates houses. We've helped him get government contracts. So that's how I met Chad way back in the day, long before sports. He was a guy who could build a whole subdivision. And so we got that connection. So he's here. I appreciate you. And he does that too. All right, Mo, you're up. What's up, Mo? What you doing? What's got going on?
I'm just going to piggyback off of Chad. That plan that you said for Gwinnett County, it's already in motion for me, actually. Teamed up with Linda. She helped me start my LLC to train kids, not just from an athlete standpoint, it's a student athlete training. So where I don't just train football players, I train other athletes as well, even just people that just want to be fit. And it's just getting the mind frame together of there's life outside of sports. And you're just using your platform to actually excel at what your hobbies. And if it's a hobby, why not get paid for something that you love to do?
That's exactly right. All right, Mo, don't forget.
I got you.
Do the entrepreneur thing. Talk to him about the music. He done got an offer to be the headliner. Go ahead, talk to him about that.
Okay, so I love music since I was a kid. My uncle was in death row, and I just grew up listening to music. My first words were Wild Wild West from Kool Moe Dee. When I just had this vision because my brother he's like amazing at rapping, and he always got in trouble. He was the shadow. They always compared him to me. He always kept getting in trouble. So I said, why not start an entertainment company to help him stay off the streets and get his life on track. So when I did that, I was just trying to be like the Sean Combs and just be behind the scenes. And my uncle heard me one day and he said, you need to use your platform and to actually go forward with it. And even those days were like the roughest. And he was like, man, Canada loves you. You have a whole entire country that loves you. And then on top of that, you're from the US and you have a fan base here. So
and he can sing and rap and represent other players. And so
I haven't put out one song yet.
Wait. We invited him to a showcase. We happen to sponsor a showcase called Who's Got That Vibe, where we support local talent, up and coming artists, and that's the celebrity side of the Contracts and Capital Sports and Entertainment. So I said, Mo, come on, I need you to be a judge. I need you to judge some talent. I'm just thinking that, he's the athlete and everybody just glad Mr. Athlete. I really didn't think he had the ability to know music. I did not know. And he got up there, and when I tell you they fell in love with him, and then they offered him a singing spot on, you were gonna be the headliner, and it got canceled because
well, right now it's still in motion right now. For the Tri-City Hip Hop Awards down in Columbus, Georgia. I'm headlining for their award ceremony, and right now the way that things are opening back up, we're strategically planning on it to still be going on June 13th. And me being the headliner of my company, like they have the tickets are free, but the VIP is not. So if you get free tickets, you have to pay for food and drinks. But the VIP tickets, I worked something out with actual company, and where my company is actually doing a party bus from Atlanta all the way down there. It's like 10 hours of.
When is it? It's June. When is the date? What is the date?
June 13th.
June 13th. I don't know. I had it on my calendar.
June 13th. So it's a party bus, food and beverages from the entire.
Well, we got you, me, Chad,
and then you get a free shirt, though. You get a free shirt, and we got merchandise here, and these are the exclusive ones, and actually has my number on there. The only player to ever to wear to get a pick six in every league, I had to throw like an exclusive on there. And then my wife gave me special permission to actually do the Heather grades. So we're debating on which ones for that event of the color, which we're going to do.
So that just goes to show you how diverse a player can be. We got Mo not only doing music, he's still playing professional football, and he's headlining, and he's an entrepreneur. So we're glad to have him as a flagship player. What? Huh?
The good thing is when I'm booking the party bus, I can actually do it as being a travel agent. Me and my wife have a travel business together, and we will actually get a commission off of it. And that's one of the things. So that's one of the amazing things about it. So
we appreciate that, Mo. All right, hey guys, we got like 2 minutes. So again, I want to thank you so much for giving your time, your talent. We're going to continue to support y'all. We're going to continue to make sure that your platform is heard. I'm going to make sure that each one of you get a pair of pop socks. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. And we're going to be doing more of these. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Y'all be safe out there.
Thank you. I need them gingerbread mans.
Right.
Thank you. Make sure we all connect.
Yes.
Thank y'all.